I am not leading a life of fear. I'm not living a worrisome life. I'm not living a life burdened with rules and restrictions. I'm not a vegan. I'm not a minimalist. I'm enjoying the simple pleasures of life, that is food, and I am healing. I said all of that to say this. In the very first video, I made a statement that everything man-made has a toxic footprint, and this is true. There are things that we suggest ourselves to and things that we have no control over that are toxic that we are exposed to every day. The statements that I'm making are that it's not complicated and it does not have to be hard. I'm wanting to shed the light on the fact that there are things that we can do to support our bodies to help it manage the toxic loads that we're going to be exposed to as a part of life. I have a lot to say. My final thoughts about the video series that I've just done and the documentaries that it was based on, I will link those videos in the description box below. Check out the description box of those videos for the factual information that the series is based on. But in conclusion, I don't look at the scientific and the high information, and I'm not a scientist. I look at the basics. 1 + 1 = 2. If you tell me and show me that genetically modified foods interferes with my body's ability to get nutrients, that is all that I need to know. Without a very in-depth understanding of human biology and human functions, I know the basics. I know this. The body requires nutrients and a multitude of nutrients to function, to exist, to repair, to give us long, luxurious hair, to boost our immune system, to fight disease, to keep us from having fatigue, breaking down, arthritis. I know that the human body has a very apt way of managing. It manages every day with the lack of nutrients that we give it. But what happens is it robs Peter to pay Paul. So it's going to pay the most essential bills, and it's going to let the other bills fall to the wayside. I'll link a video in the description box that explains that in more detail, called 7 Cups of Fruits and Vegetables. But that's all I need to know. Genetically modified foods is scientifically proven and known to decrease the nutrients that is available when the sugar-made pathway is blocked off and the use of petroleum-based fertilizers. Further implications, so what does this mean? This means someone like myself that's living an intentional lifestyle, intentionally eating and doing the things that I do to support my body, to boost my immune system, to fight disease, to detox, to heal. If I'm eating genetically modified foods, I'm in conflict with my efforts to survive. Another point that was made in the documentary was the use of genetically modified herbicides and pesticides, which is Roundup. And in the documentary, it talks about the use of these chemicals requires food to be genetically modified. So let's just look at that. So you already have food that is lack of nutrients. And our only reason for eating, I know that a lot of people focus on taste and the way that it makes them feel, but the only reason why we're successful at eating is because it is to nourish our bodies so that our bodies can function and be alive. So you're already taking something that is depleted of nutrients, that has artificial nutrients, and then you're spraying it with a chemical that it mentions that these herbicides and pesticides are a killer. They kill the insects, they kill the bacteria, they kill the things that are very essential for life. You can't have one without the other. Genetically modified foods equals foods treated with harmful herbicides and pesticides, and those two factors alone make them anti-nutrient. Another factor mentioned in the documentary was the consumption of genetically modified foods leads to mutations. Mutations in the food that cannot be removed, and mutations within the human body, and with mutations within the organisms within the human body that are required to help us digest food and to stay alive. The body is strong. There is no doubt about it. Our bodies have the ability to manage in the hardships that life and we place on it. This causes us to be complacent and careless, just like a spoiled child. Complacency is shown when we think things like, migraines or constipation or skin issues or mental incapacities, emotional imbalances, weight issues, odors that are coming from our body, are just an everyday part of life. Comprehending the most important information gained from these documentaries that I did the video on, I have learned not to leave my protections to someone else. I thought outside the box and thought about how many class action lawsuits have there been for pharmaceutical drugs that were supposed to be tested and approved by the federal government. The cow scenario happens every day. Many people are affected by the science experiments that are tested on the general population. Just because a few people die or become sicker doesn't mean that we're not all affected. But there are these lawsuits where people are dead or irreparably damaged. I'm not leaving my protections up to anyone. These companies will have made billions of dollars and some lawsuits will have little impact. My number one objective is to preserve life and to make intelligent decisions. And I'm not leaving my protections up to entities that have divided interests where I'm left to deal with harsh consequences. Until next time, thanks for watching.